Well, good morning. I'm being joined by Alice Faye, who's in Memphis. Okay, and as you can see from the books behind her, she is a well-published author. Um, and I'm incredibly excited to talk to her. I found out just a moment ago that she has actually written one book that has to do with St. Louis, and she's going to tell us about that later on. But right now, I would ask you, Alice, and thank you for coming, to tell us a bit about yourself. On your website, you say that I write books for young learners and I speak to students about civil rights movement. Well, we're kind of interested. How did all that come to be? And anything else you want to tell us about you? So right now, it's all about you. Go for it.
All right. Well, my name is Alice Faye Duncan. I am a national board educator. I am a former school teacher, school librarian. I taught in the Memphis City schools for 30 years. And presently now I am writing full time, writing books for children. I've been researching the American Civil Rights Movement since 1993, and that's the civil rights movement. When it comes to my nonfiction books, I would say that's my wheelhouse. But I also write fiction books, and one of my upcoming fiction books is Yellow Dog Blues, a blues fable about the Mississippi Delta. The illustrator is Chris Rosca. Look forward to that. And my most recent book that's available right now is Opaline and What It Means to Be Free, a Juneteenth book about the history of Juneteenth and about grandmother Opal Lee, who is responsible for us having Juneteenth. Partly, she's responsible for us having Juneteenth as a national holiday.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's get right to it then. Let's talk uh, first, and I need to do that to mark myself here. Okay, and then switch back. So let's switch back here and put it back on you and ask you, tell us about the story of Opal Lee. What inspired you to write the story? Uh, and what is the story? The next little segment will be all about Opal Lee and how it came to be, and her story, which is a fascinating story. Go ahead.
Hopefully, and What It Means to Be Free, the true story of the grandmother of Juneteenth. That has been a wonderful experience, watching children enjoy it and um, glean that history of Juneteenth. The book came about in 19, nope, that's not right. The book came about in 2020. It was during the summer of the George Floyd tragedy. And at that same time, Opal Lee was marching across the nation, collecting signatures for her petition on making Juneteenth a national holiday. So, above the rage of the George Floyd tragedy, there was Opal Lee's voice calling for racial reconciliation, calling for acknowledgement of the importance of liberation and freedom, and using Juneteenth as the banner for that. um, a publisher who was familiar with my book, Memphis Martin and the Mountaintop, that was HarperCollins, an editor at the publisher for HarperCollins, was very familiar with my book, Memphis Martin and the Mountaintop. And she knew that I had taken a difficult subject like the assassination of Dr. King to make it accessible, understandable, and emotionally, I would say, emotionally relevant to children. So she wanted to do that very same thing with Juneteenth, and she wanted to do that very same thing with the life of grandmother Opal Lee. And so she invited me to come on board and to write Opal Lee's biography for children, which would also serve as a history of Juneteenth.
Okay, well, that is just, and I can tell my readers, if you haven't read it yet, buy it, read it. It's a very moving piece. And you know what? It is written for kids, but it's not just for kids. There's some messages there that ring true for the adults as well. So this is one of those books that if it isn't on your shelves yet, it needs to be. Okay, so let's now go into the next part. It is what takeaways do you hope your readers get from this story and the other stories you write? What are the things that children should take away, adults should take away? What are you trying to do for us? Okay.
Well, if you would notice, like behind me, there are three of my most recent books, and one of them, of course, is Opaline and What It Means to Be Free, which is the Juneteenth story. And then there is Memphis Martin and the Mountaintop, which is about the 1968 sanitation strike in Memphis, which led to the assassination of Dr. King. And then the third book behind me is Evicted, The Struggle for the Right to Vote, which is about that Tennessee movement of evicted Black sharecroppers. It is the movement that led to the signing of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. So, Evicted, Memphis Martin and the Mountaintop, Opal Lee and What It Means to Be Free, all of those books have one thing in common. Well, they have several things in common, but one of the main things that they have in common is that you have young people in those books who are using their personal agency for change. They're using their personal agency in the service of freedom, liberation, and justice for all. And so, my message in my books, all of them that deal with civil rights, my message to children is that you are never too young to make a difference. You are never too young to use your voice. You are never too young to use your personal agency in the service of justice.
Okay. What a powerful and wonderful message. And I know there's a lot of folks in St. Louis that will be, if they haven't already, looking at your books and sharing them with the children in the fall. Um, let's take a look at your website and let's see if I'm prepared to do that or not. This is now technical, guys. I'm about to go technical. Live with it if I mess it up. Okay. Yep, I'm going to mess it up. So give me a second here. Uh, nobody told me I was going to need a complete computer degree just to teach or interview. They forgot to mention that. Okay. So here we go. You're here. I promise you, you're here. There you are. Come on. There we are. Now, all this technical stuff. And there we are. And oh, that's my grandchildren, by the way. And that's your website. So I'm going to switch back. It's all you. Tell me where to point to readers to, uh,
Okay.
because I've been on this website. It's just it has so many amazing features that I decided I'm not going to write about it. I'm going to have you tell us about it. So from the horse's mouth, so to speak, tell us about this website.
All right. Well, so what you find when you get to my website is that there is a top menu, and you don't have to click anything at this time, but there is a top menu that will share with you information about my free writing workshop, information about my book banning t-shirt promotion. I have one book for adults, which is called Hello Sunshine, 5 Habits to Uncloud Your Day. It's sort of like a motivational book for teachers, especially as we begin the new year. And then what you have is when you would return to the website, if you scroll down, you will see a live reading of Opal Lee that was done at the King Center. So, like, if you're in school and you want to share a live reading of me reading Opal Lee for your children, you can go there. And also, if you scroll down even further, these are the books, but then if you go down to the teacher resources on my website, you will find that those teacher resources you have
Oh,
free.
okay. I saw it and I lost it. Give me a sec.
Okay.
There we are.
There you are. So right there, you have free teacher. You don't have to click them, but you have
Right.
free teacher resources for Opolia and what it means to be free. You have free teacher resources for Evicted, which is about the voting rights struggle in America. And that book is for like middle grade and high school. You have free resources for Memphis Martin and the Mountaintop, and then books that we didn't talk about, but I have a Gwendolyn Brooks biography, have free resources for that, showing kids how to write a sonnet. And then I also have free resources for my book, Just Like a Mama. And so these free resources, they do a lot of heavy lifting for teachers, librarians, social studies teachers who would like to share my books with their children, but they don't have time. Can you say it with me? I don't have time. As a teacher, oftentimes you don't have time to make your own creative resources.
Yeah, time is our enemy. There's
Right.
not enough hours in the day, and I've been for years now searching for a place where I could buy a couple of clones. I just need a couple of me to do all the stuff that needs doing. So, and I know all teachers feel that way.
Right. Well, I don't think this is the year that you're going to be able to purchase that clone at a accessible price, right?
Right.
Um so so yeah, and so also I want to show you my new book. There's an announcement here for my new book, Yellow Dog Blues,
Let's
which I
see. Let's see. Oh, where do I go for that?
go down, go down.
Okay.
All right. And so okay, now go up. There
There
you
it
go.
is. Okay.
Right, right. So right there, and so it's called Yellow Dog Blues, and the illustrator is two-time Caldecott winner Chris Raska, and that is the blues that relates to St. Louis, and it relates to the Mississippi Delta, and it relates to Memphis and Beale Street. The book is about a yellow dog, there in the picture, a yellow dog who runs away from home, and he runs up Highway 61, and he stops at all of these different blues landmarks like Cleveland, Mississippi, like Dockery Farms, like Willie Seabury's plantation juke joint, like Hicks Tamale Stand in Clarksdale. The dog runs to the crossroads where they say the myth and the fable says Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil.
Oh
And
my.
this book is like an exploration of blues history and music and American music history, but it's also a fable about love, loss, and learning to live with, you know, and learning to live with life at whatever state you find it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, there are a couple of things personally. I'm going to stop the share here and go to the two of us again. Here we are. Um, there's a couple of links that as soon as this interview is over, I'm getting that blues book because not only because it partly involves St. Louis, but because I play the blues sometimes. My wife's favorite song that I play is called "Please Play Far, Far Away." She's often asking me to do that, but I do dabble, and uh, it, this is just a wonderful resource. And then all those poetry resources, my readers know me well enough to know that I am such a firm believer in using poetry. Poetry is so powerful
Yeah.
that is a good venue to use to teach, to help us teach children. And I know I'm downloading those PDFs. And I mean, how good is that, readers? My readers of the blog out there. I mean, look at all those resources you can get with these books. My gosh. So thank you for that. Okay. So that leaves us to the final point here, which is final thoughts. So Anything I left out? Anything you want to still say? This is where we're going to just wrap things up. So it's all you again.
I just want to say that readers are leaders. When you show or inspire children to fall in love with the books, you are creating lifelong learners. You are creating leaders that have a sense of empathy, compassion, and a respect for intellectual liberation. And so I thank teachers, librarians, I thank parents uh, who have and will share my books with young learners.
Okay, and I'll most certainly be one of those teachers sharing those books for sure. And thank you so much. So there's a final silly tradition on any Bomberito interview, and that is we do a Zoom wave goodbye. So if you would just, oh yeah, you're better at it than I am. Well, thank you, and goodbye, everybody.